We will now be moving on to our next speaker. He is a social entrepreneur and business mentor based in Oman, with more than 21 years in senior management, experience in diverse sectors. He is the vice chairman of Knowledge Oman, and he is the ex-chairman of the board of directors of the Indian schools in Oman. Dr. Baby Sam Samuel will be speaking about 2030 careers and skills, anticipating the road ahead.
All right, by this time the slide is up. Homo sapiens, human beings. One of the aspects that differentiates us from other species is our ability to view the future in our minds, of course, and to plan ahead cognitively. And another aspect that creates or differentiates us is our search for meaning and purpose in life. Today, as we engage in a collective reckoning of what lies ahead of us, I would like to share my perspectives, my take on the opportunities and changes the new decade will bring in our professions, especially our careers. And thank you, Amar, thank you, Sadiq, for this invite. And I'm also looking forward to learning from one and all of you here this morning. We are in a state of flux. Facebook is Meta now, with a clear emphasis on a technological future that is far beyond a social media space. Our century-old currencies are being replaced or at least augmented by cryptocurrencies. And our manual delivery systems are being replaced with drone-based delivery systems. And these are not information which is new to you. But year 2019, the world was looking at these are going to be the 2025 disruptors. As we all know, we live in an age of information, an era of fourth industrial revolution with the fifth industrial revolution round the corner. We know these disruptions, as you rightly know, is a time, it is at the same time, it is destructive as well, it is innovative. It literally uproots the way we do business, way we think, where we live, and we even, we do everything that we are involved in is getting disrupted by year 2025. And these were the kind of disruptors that we looked at. But 2020, there was a surprise disruptor which changed the way we looked at the world, especially a pandemic that is unprecedented in a globalized world. If you ask me, what is my take home with this kind of a pandemic is that world is no more going to be the same. Anything can happen anytime. It is not going to be constant as we always thought it would be. And to thrive such a world order, I believe we need to be fluid, we need to be malleable, and we need to be flexible. Now, with technological advancement, our employment landscape has also changed. Our generation has seen jobs, professions that is wiped off from the face of the universe. For examples, a few in the slide. We have also seen, this generation has also seen jobs that didn't exist before. For example, chief data officer, virtual reality consultant, director of diversity and inclusion, information security engineers and data scientists. Now, not only that these are new professions that has come up, emerging professions, but these are some of the most paid up professions in the ecosystem that we belong to. Everything around us, tell me one domain that is not undergoing change as we speak. Our industries are changing, especially the technologies are emerging. The skills that is required to brave the 21st century are changing. The needs and traits of the new generation is absolutely different from ours. And of course, our employers are also changing. The question here this morning is, how do we prepare the new generation for jobs that do not exist. How do we prepare employees to anticipate changes in their job trajectory? And how does employees prepare themselves for the change that is absolutely not clear of? All right? And when we have this conversation, the biggest, I mean, wherever we go, whatever conferences that we talk about, we could hear this, you know, the biggest challenge that manpower or humankind at this point of time is his fight against machines, unfortunately. Now, you know, like man versus wild in the previous years, we are talking about man versus machines. This started not now, actually. From the first industrial revolution onwards, people have been, you know, taking technology as an unseen enemy, somehow or the other. And today, it makes it all the more worse because fourth industrial revolution, we just had our previous speaker talking about human being on one side. Another side, you have, you know, artificial intelligence, you have automation, you have machine learning, making efficiency far above human beings as well. The error levels are on the lower side. So that is why we always fear automation. But the fact of the matter is different. 140 years of data shows a different story. And that is, technology is a great job creating machine, and technology has enabled shift of labor from a source of raw power, that is, we always used mankind, we who always work towards our own physical power, moving to utilizing the human innate capabilities of using care, services, and education as a prime utilization of our core competence or our innate competence as human beings. You know, our job advertisements used to be manpower required. 2030, it is going to be humans needed. Humans being more of a machine-like to human learning to be more of human. That means there is going to be an absolute rebalance between man and machine. And how do we do that? When there is a rebalance between man and machine going to happen, we are talking about, it is obviously happening because of technological adoption. And when we have technological adoption, we are talking about challenging between efficiency, and obviously employees will look at efficiency and lower error rates, and that leads to redundant roles, and redundant roles leads to displacement, necessitating restructuring. But then with reskilling and upskilling, it is possible to have free deployment as well. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not something to be worried about, but at the same time, it is time that we need to be cautious about as well. The technologies that is set to augment the workforce for the coming decade are artificial intelligence to 3D and 4D printing. Look at this data here. About 50% of the global paid activities or tasks are going to be automated in the next decade. If you look at the entire professions or professions as a whole, it is only less than 5% that can be fully automated. However, 60% of the jobs, at least 1/3 of its activities, could be automated, and the sum of it is 1.1 billion jobs to be radically transformed by technology by the next decade. Adding to it is 86% of the employers are set to rapidly digitalize the working processes, and we are expecting 44% of their workforce to operate remotely. So this is our, the current snapshot of where we stand. And these are some of the redundant roles that we talk about here. I mean, the coming decade, the top 20 redundant roles, doubling with the disruption of COVID, starting from data entry clerks to construction laborers. Okay. Yeah. Now, but the matter of fact is, though we said that the redundant roles are increasing, but the data shows that year 2020, The proportion of increasingly redundant roles, currently is 15.4, will have a fall of 5.6% by 2025, because the redundancy in the roles has started way back itself. Simple story with very clear demarcation of man and machines. We are expecting 85 million jobs to be displaced. But the brighter part of the story is, with the collaboration of machines, humans and algorithm can create 97 million new roles by the next decade. Some of the top 20 job roles across industries with the next decade: data analysts and scientists to risk management specialists. Right, just being aware of time. Thank you. Okay. This is the region also has almost a similar story with the example of UAE. Some of the emerging roles and redundant roles, as per the slide: data analysts and scientists to big data specialists. Top 10 redundant jobs being administrative and executive secretaries to cashiers and ticket clerks. Look at some of the interesting 2030 professions out here: work from home facilitator, data detective, smart home design manager, and the likes. These are some of the 2030 professions that we can kind of anticipate in the days to come. Employers, as well industries, it's time that they realign and restructure by formulating new forms of human-machine interaction that augment human capabilities. And by establishing processes and systems, re-engineer to take advantage of automation, as well using human skills and capabilities to fill in the technological shortfalls. Friends, 40% of the core skills that we currently use in our job front, in our work premises, are going to change in the next 5 years. 60% of an employee's knowledge will still be required for the performance of the duties in 2027. That means only 60% is required by 2027, which is like 6 years down the line. And 94% of the business leaders expect employees to pick up new skills on the job, which is a 65% increase from year 2018. Now, what does that imply? Very simple. It simply implies that skilling, upskilling, and reskilling is a lifelong process. Formal education, few years, is never going to be enough to thrive in a competitive and a challenging world. And some of the basic skill set that is going to be required across the industries in the coming years is basic literacy, numeracy, 21st century skills, collaborating with data, and having very specific job skills, be it technical, vocational. Saying that, creativity, critical thinking, collaboration are never going to be, are not buzzwords anymore. Absolutely not. I would even say they are going to be the minimum qualities, even compared to your academic qualifications. That's where the world is moving to. These are kind of skills for the Generation Z: social intelligence, novel and adaptive thinking, design mindset, virtual collaboration, cross-cultural competencies, and transdisciplinary and the likes. Top 15 skills for the year 2025. Analytical thinking and innovation, persuasion and negotiation, complex problem solving, emotional intelligence, spoke about creativity, technological design, programming, and the likes. When we fear further about displacement of jobs, the interesting fact is that internal redeployment of nearly 50% of the displaced workers is possible after reskilling. That's a very interesting, I would say, very interesting information. For example, if we look at from an Oman perspective, oil and gas sector, We are looking at an average share of workers at risk of displacement is something like 14.2%. But with reskilling, upskilling, we are talking about redeployment rates at 48.1%. Likewise, is energy, utilities, and technologies. We are talking about 51.1%. And the least is in the sector of education. Okay. Cross-functional skills is the way forward. Top cross-cutting, specialized skills, be it product marketing, digital marketing, software development, life skills, business management, advertising. These are kind of insulated from occupations across the sector. Needn't say. And if we think technological changes is one important factor for job market influences, I would say globalization, urbanization, increasing inequality, political uncertainty, environmental sustainability, demographic changes are also going to be factors for the 2030 job market. And added with is the Sustainable Development Goals defined by the UN. And these are going to be addressing some of the factors of abject poverty, good health, and quality education. And these are going to be part of the policy-making processes in the days to come. And these are also factors that will affect the job markets in the days to come. The industries that will change the world are these. The way we think, we're going to work, and we're going to believe what it was. And also, not only our jobs, the places of where we're going to work is also going to change. Apart from the emerging cities and towns, virtual space, including metaverse, remotopia, and who knows, we might even operate out of the outer space, right? And let me conclude this morning by starting from where we started, where we began with COVID-19, the pandemic. To thrive a world, a very competitive and a challenging world, we need to adapt. We need to be fluid. We need to be malleable. We need to be resilient. And we need to embrace change. As we step to a new year, I wish you all new skills and a new future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. And from the positions you held as the chairman of the Indian School Board, and understanding that the Indian students form a major part of the upcoming force for work. On day one, we announced the formation of a national level advisory think tank to work with the GEDx group of academics and CEOs and also people who work in the skills and HRD. So we look forward hoping to have you on that board. So Amar, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Baby Sam. And it was interesting to see how you talked about how manpower or the kind of traditional way of manpower is no longer required, and it's going to be more about the human experience that we can deliver in our services. The Ministry of Manpower changed its name to the Ministry of Labor. It'd be interesting in the future to see if they change the name further, maybe to the Ministry of Skills or the Ministry of Humans, because that's also a kind of showing what's happening in this area. And also in terms of how you mentioned it's the skills, it's the talent, not the diplomas, not the formal education. Maybe later on we can discuss what has changed in the hiring process, where before you'd get a CV and you look at the best university and then you choose that person from there. How has the hiring process changed now? Is it everyone will do it differently? Maybe it's the challenges that we give when we meet potential candidates. Is it the way that we feel when we meet them as well? So I'd be interested to see how the hiring process has changed. So thank you so much, Dr. Baby Sam Samuel, for that great speech.